Talking about a revolution sounds. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution sounds. Who are people gonna rise up, get their share? Who are people gonna rise up and take what's theirs? Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. 'Cause finally the tables are starting.
Ooh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Wednesday, the 13th day of August 2014. And if you can hear the sound of my voice, then you are the revolution. My name is Smokin Mekhael, and this is the Revolutionary Nightly News, broadcasting worldwide, smashing through the lies of the Illuminati and spreading truth, love, and freedom globally. Today we're going to discuss recent events and how people are distracted from the really important issues that face them, both globally and at a local level, because they are distracted by celebrities and other fluff, sports, entertainment, things that are designed to stop them from thinking critically, from really having compassion for their fellow human beings. We're going to go into that. We're going to go into the further saber rattling by Australian politicians and politicians worldwide trying to stoke global conflict, how they want to continue war with the groups that they fund and arm. I'm going to go into all of that. I'm going to go into some police state news worldwide and show how people are being brutalized by the police. Let's get into this. This is news.com.au, a News Corporation website that a lot of people in Australia get their news from. These are their top stories. Is this for real? A $500 million theme park coming to Oz? That's a really great expenditure for money. But anyway, that's a private enterprise, whatever, but this is the main story. Also, two of the main stories: the woman who found Robin's body. Robin Williams' 50 greatest jokes. Now, of course, Robin Williams passed away recently. It was a couple nights ago or one night ago. And they say it was a suicide. You know, he was a really great actor. But, you know, he was running with the establishment his whole life. And now this is news. Like, these are the top stories. They're not talking about what's really going on. Here's a story: hockey, poor people don't drive. I'll go into that later on. But this celebrity worship, this vacuous, sycophantic sucking up to these nobodies, to these, sure, they're entertainers. I'll give them credit where credit is due. This man was a great actor. I'll give him that credit. But these people aren't talking about real issues, what's going on in society. They're not using their fame. They're not using their fan base to really wake people up to what's going on. Celebrity worship, Facebook, Twitter, all of these sports, everything is just a distraction from what's really going on. So these are the top stories on news.com.au. You want to see what's really going on? This article was from August 12 on counterpunch.org. Gaza, Egypt and Syria, a common thread of genocide, war crimes and wars against humanity. Gaza, indiscriminate Israeli war crimes against civilians from July 7 to August 12, just over a month this year. The number of Gazans killed by Israel, 1,943, with 80% civilian casualties, including 437 children and 243 women. Number of Gazans wounded by Israel, 9,886. Number of houses destroyed, over 5,000. Damaged, over 36,000. Number of mosques destroyed, 64. Damaged, 152. Number of churches damaged, 2. Number of schools or educational facilities destroyed or damaged, 189. Number of hospitals or medical facilities destroyed or damaged, 24. Number of structures destroyed, including the only electric power plant, more than 1,500. In Egypt, my homeland, I was born in Cairo. A brutal military coup to halt democracy and silence political dissent. Number of people killed by the coup regime from July 3, 2013 to January 31st, 2014. At least 3,248, including 299 students, with 289 males and 10 females. At least 80 died while in custody. Number of people injured by the coup regime from July 3, 2013 to February 28, 2014, over 18,000, including at least 1,400 students. Number of people arrested by the coup regime from July 3, 2013 to May 31, 2014. Over 9,000, with over 1,200 receiving death sentences in mass trials. Syria, it goes on, fueled by the Western powers. They're the ones funding ISIS, funding Al-Qaeda, while they play these tribes against each other, these groups against each other, and they sit back and make billions from defense contracts. The industrial complex, the military industrial complex, rolls on and on. Number of people killed in the Syrian civil war between March 2011 and August 2014, between 102,000 and 171,000, over 171,000. Between 9,100 and 11,400 are children. And between 5,800 to 7,100 are women. More than 53,000 detainees in the Syrian civil war. More than almost 3 million refugees and displaced persons. Goes on with American military aid to Israel, aiding and abetting Israeli war crimes. It goes on and on and on. And they've got Robin Williams as the front page story. This is what people are preoccupied with. And here's the thing. People are going to attack you if you go down this path and want to follow the truth. Because the thing is, they're scared of what's going to happen if they accept this for reality. They're going to call you a conspiracy theorist. They're going to call you a nut. Because if they looked into these things and discovered that they were actually true for themselves, that would mean that they would have to do something about it. And they're too scared and too gutless and too lazy to do anything about it. So I urge you watching this to break free from the conditioning, to break free from people trying to put you down or trying to stop you from saying what you're saying because they call you a conspiracy theorist. Have the courage to stand up, because if we don't stand up, then this world is going to go into a black hole of tyranny that is going to be almost impossible to escape from. We need to stand together while we still have the freedom to do so. Abbott open to sending troops to Iraq to prevent genocide by the Islamic State. They're the ones committing the genocide and have been doing so for so long, but they want to flip it around. He wants to send Australian troops over there. They want maybe someone you know is in the military. I know I got friends in the military. I don't want them dying for something fake like this. I don't want them going over there and killing people for a fake war where the Western powers run the opposition. It is ridiculous. And here are a couple of articles which really prove that we are getting through, because when they call you a conspiracy theorist in major publications, this is trying to condition people. Whenever someone says anything that's not 100% congruent with the government line, they're a conspiracy theorist. They must be crazy. And people rush to put that label on people who seek the truth because they don't have the guts to seek the truth for themselves. But the fact that they're calling us conspiracy theorists means they're acknowledging what we're saying. They can't just keep it under the rug any longer. They have to acknowledge it. Sure, they might ridicule us, but we are making progress. We're on the march. The empire is on the run. Freedom is marching forward. And the enemy, evil, is in retreat. Why Iran believes the militant group ISIS is an American plot. It is an American plot that is documented. Conspiracy theories are nothing new in the Middle East, but the latest to come from Tehran is a self-protecting mechanism that could ultimately backfire. I didn't get this information from Iran. It is public record, if you would look at this. Iran's English language daily newspaper, the Tehran Times, recently ran a front page story describing the Islamic State of Iraq and Greater Syria, or ISIS. Their June offensive in Iraq is part of a US-backed plot to destabilize the region and protect Israel. The project for a new American century calls for exactly that. Also, in the BBC, the US, ISIS and the conspiracy theory sweeping Lebanon. If you don't agree with them, you're automatically a conspiracy theorist. But I'm telling you that these are the most important times you could possibly hope to be alive. The most exciting times you could possibly hope to be alive. Because we have the opportunity to turn the tide of human history for good. Tyranny has reigned for too long, and they're seeking to tighten their grip on the people. And if that happens, we're going to be living in a situation worse than 1984 and Brave New World combined. We don't want that to happen. And we're not going to let that happen. Because I don't want innocent kids all over the world to get blown up so people can have more power. We need to take down the state. We need to take it down peacefully. We need to withdraw from their system. We need to have civil disobedience. We need to stand up against them and show them that they don't control us. We control our own destiny. It is the evidence that the US funds Al-Qaeda, created Al-Qaeda, the Mujahideen, ISIS, all of these groups. The evidence is legion. ISIS leader, a confirmed CIA puppet. From The Guardian, LV, ISIS trained by US government. This infamous photo now of John McCain hanging out with these guys while they were trying to get them to overthrow Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Now this group has transformed into ISIS and they seek to bomb them again. It is a ridiculous game. Former CIA agent from the Moroccan Times. The ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was trained by the Israeli Mossad, and that former CIA agent is, of course, Edward Snowden. The former NSA and CIA agent Edward Snowden revealed that the leader of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, was trained in Israel, various Iranian sources reported. Look this up for yourself. It is the long history of these governments funding, arming, and giving power to these different groups so they can play them off against each other in a Hegelian dialectic. Please research this for yourself. I'm telling you, entertainment is great. It's easy just to switch off your consciousness and laugh at entertainment for a certain amount of time. But I'm telling you, things are going to get worse and worse unless we stand up. But I have faith in humanity. I have faith in you. I believe in you. I'm not talking to weaklings. I'm talking to warriors. I'm not talking to failures. I'm talking to people who are going to overcome. Talking to champions. The Belfast Telegraph. How the West bankrolls ISIS, millions from governments and NGOs funding radical Islamic terror group. More evidence the US funds Al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria, from globalresearch.ca. BenSwan.com, why America's allies are funding ISIS in Iraq. Why are American allies funding ISIS in Iraq? And from RIA Novosti, US selling Israeli weapons for use on Palestinians, Middle East expert. This goes on in all of these conflicts. New York, July 28. While negotiating a truce between Israelis and Palestinian militants, the US continues to stoke the conflict by selling deadly weapons to Israel, a Middle East expert told RIA's Novosti on Monday. Even as the US government claims to be brokering a ceasefire, it continues selling weapons to Israel, said Ken Klippenstein, a journalist who regularly covers the conflict. On July 14th, as violence flared between Israelis and Palestinians, the US State Department approved a $544 million sale of AIM-9X Sidewinder missiles, which can be used on ground targets by F-16s, together with support services to Israel, the expert noted. They fund all of these conflicts. These bankers and these nefarious groups have funded both sides of every conflict since the French Revolution. Look this up. This is what they do to keep the people divided. This is how they seek to conquer us. But we are standing up against them. We are coming together. We are spreading this information, and we are all waking up. From the landdestroyer.blogspot.uk, Russian sanctions expose West's global disorder. On August 8, in a report by the Sydney Morning Herald titled "Julie Bishop Says Petulant Russian Sanctions Reflect its lack of acceptance for the role in MH17 disaster," it claims Foreign Minister Julie Bishop says Russia's petulant trade sanctions on Australian food imports is yet another example of Moscow trying to evade responsibility for the downing of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. However, Bishop fails to indicate why Russia should or would accept responsibility for downing an aircraft when no evidence whatsoever even suggests such culpability. Canberra, Washington, London and Brussels are citing dubious YouTube videos, Facebook and other forms of social media, while Russia has provided radar and satellite pictures and has repeatedly called for and supported a proper, independent, impartial investigation into the incident. And the evidence, once again, is legion. I said this on the day one of the MH17. It is a false flag attack to expand conflict globally. I don't want that to happen. I've been saying this from day one. The reason why I'm broadcasting worldwide, the reason why I'm reaching out to you is because I don't want people to die. I don't want people to be poisoned. I don't want people to be destroyed. I believe in goodness. I believe in the goodness of humanity. I believe in beauty. I believe in truth, love. I don't believe in death and war. And I've understood through research, through over a decade of research, that the way to overcome this evil is to stand up and fight against it. Sitting back and doing nothing and wringing our hands, or even concentrating on worldly things or concentrating on entertainment, that's just going to accelerate the growth. All that it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. But I know that we are doing something right here and right now. Yeah. Now we'll move on to some police state news. From Infowars.com, ambulance workers blow whistle on cops who beat shackled, mentally ill man. EMTs physically intervene to stop violent police onslaught. TheFreeThoughtProject.com, SWAT team barges in and assaults 2 children, smashes everything. Whoops, wrong house. They didn't have any reason to, but they hit my nephew in the head with their rifle. He's 13. In Miami, a SWAT team is under investigation for storming into a home in Coconut Grove at around 11 a.m. with a narcotics warrant. According to the homeowner, Bobby McClendon, the warrant that SWAT presented to raid his house was for 2 blocks away. However, these brutes did not care. They came in belligerently, with guns drawn, ordering children around like slaves. When the children didn't react fast enough to the officer's command, one child was subsequently bludgeoned with the buttstock of a rifle. They didn't have any reason to, but they hit my nephew in the head with their rifle. He's 13, recounts McClendon. Major Delrish Moss with Miami PD said that in all of the chaos of the raid, the 13-year-old was injured when he ran into an officer's weapon. You can't make this stuff up. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who spent 4 years at university doing a Bachelor of Policing in Criminology, that there is a rampant, disgusting, fearful streak that runs through police. And it is seeing everyone as an enemy, and that the police are somehow part of the control system and they deserve to throw their weight around. There were so many people in that course. I remember it was disgusting how they were just waiting to get out on the streets and, crack some skulls. That was a direct quote. I remember one guy talking about that. I reach out to the police out there because I'm telling you, the government is putting poison in all of our water. Your kids are drinking that. You're drinking that. They're implementing social controls on all of us. They are lowering living standards for all of us. They want to bring us into a living hell. And you're not going to be exempt as a police officer if you go along with their program. You know what's good in your heart. There are so many good police out there, and I'm reaching out to you. Don't allow yourself to be corrupted by evil. Stand up for what is right. We need to work together to overcome the state, to overcome these people who seek to control us. The state has a monopoly on violence. The state needs to be abolished. The state needs to be destroyed. The state needs to be destroyed peacefully, but all over the world. University of Hawaii study conservatively in the 20th century, more than 250 million people were killed by government. Government kills people every single day. Government is the problem. We need to take them down and stop being concerned with fighting with each other. And here's an article from news.com.au. See, there's a militarization of police. There is global death and war and conflict. And they are seeking to squeeze everyone economically so that you're poor and dependent on the government and you go along with their program. The bin police are coming to get you. Police may search homes for stolen waste bins under a crackdown on bin theft by a rural council. This is ridiculous. And going back to that article I was talking about before, right at the start, Treasurer Joe Hockey tells low-income households they would not be bothered by petrol excise rises because rich will pay them. Treasurer Joe Hockey today argued his fuel tax increases weren't unfair to low-income earners because they couldn't afford to own cars anyway. And going on to what he said, well, change to the fuel excise does exactly that. The poorest people either don't have cars or actually don't drive very far in many cases, but they are opposing what is meant to be, according to the Treasury, a progressive tax. I'm telling you, I'm going to say it right here, right now. The government is criminal. The government is illegitimate. The government has no right to make any laws. They are murderers. They are thieves. They are the absolute scum of the earth. They are evil personified. We need to understand this. And I go back to what I was saying before about people calling you a conspiracy theorist, calling you a kook, using all these labels to dismiss you and push you away without really listening to your arguments or researching them for themselves. Once people really take the initiative and look at what's going on, it is really terrible to know that the government is actively poisoning people, actively lying on so many levels, destroying the world that we live in while pretending to protect us. It is the biggest fraud in the universe. It is monumental. And once you figure that out, you've got to do something about it, because you cannot. Just being passive is going to continue their agenda. This is difficult. I know it is. I struggle with this every day because I know that this message needs to go out there. But I also understand that I'm going to receive a lot of backlash, and I have. But I don't care about that. I care about protecting people who can't protect themselves. Kids who are getting bombed in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria. Everyone who's getting their water poisoned with fluoride, getting aluminium dropped on them with chemtrails. Every single person under the world who's under tyranny, whether it's soft tyranny or harder tyranny, I really want to help everyone. That's the honest reason why I'm doing this, why I'm reaching out. And I call upon you to look within yourself and to research what I'm talking about, and to stop wasting your time with entertainment, because we don't have much time left. And I don't mean to fearmonger at all. I'm not trying to spread a message of fear. I'm spreading the vibration of love. I want to put out the call to action in reality, because we don't have much time left. We need to use the freedom that we have to stand up together and fight the evil people who seek to oppress us. I know that we're going to win. I know that we're going to defeat evil. And I believe and declare we will destroy the Illuminati, and peace will reign over the earth. I encourage you to research once again. Spread this message. Start your own blog. Post these real topics on Facebook, Twitter. Use the enemy system against them. Together we're going to win. The revolution is here. Woo! Yeah.